I freeze it now and I eat it like a popsicle.
Everybody loves somebody sometime.
Are you ready?
Let's slaughter 'em.
Dean Martin, famously the king of cool, seemed to have it all: fame, charm, and an effortless life. But was there more behind the Rat Pack legend? Born to humble beginnings, Martin overcame bullying and odd jobs to become a household name. Now, his son shares untold secrets about the man behind the microphone. What was Dean Martin really like? The answers may surprise you. Dean Martin, famously known as the King of Cool, lived a life filled with success and struggles. As a key member of the Rat Pack, his charm and charisma captivated audiences. But let's go back, when it all started. Born Dino Paul Crocetti in 1917 in Steubenville, Ohio, Martin grew up in modest surroundings. His parents, Angela and Guy Crocetti, were Italian immigrants. Dino spoke only Italian until the age of 5, which led to bullying at school. These early experiences likely contributed to his reserved and tough personality. Martin chose a different path from his father, a barber, leaving school at 16. This wasn't an act of rebellion, but a decision driven by his ambition and unique talents. After quitting school, he worked various jobs, including pumping gas, dairy farming, and even rumored involvement in small-time crime. A brief stint as a professional boxer ended after a severe nose injury, which changed not only his appearance, but also his career direction. While recovering, Martin worked as a blackjack dealer at a local bar. It was there that he began singing for customers, winning them over with his smooth voice. The bar became a stage for him to hone his musical skills. His talent, combined with his easygoing charm, quickly made him a local favorite. This small beginning marked the start of his journey to stardom. During this time, Dino Crocetti decided to reinvent himself. He adopted the stage name Dean Martin, believing it sounded smoother and more marketable than his real name. The change marked the beginning of his transformation into the iconic star he would become. By age 17, Martin was performing in Ohio nightclubs, first under the guidance of Ernie Mackay and later touring with Sammy Watkins in 1938. Initially, he used the name Dino Martini before settling on Dean Martin, shedding his ethnic roots to appeal to a broader audience. This rebranding was part of a deliberate effort to craft a polished public image. Martin's suave persona, often seen with a drink in hand, became his signature. It combined elegance with an easygoing charm. Yet this image, inspired in part by entertainer Phil Harris, masked his true personality. Offstage, Martin was a reserved and private man who rarely felt at ease in social settings. In a 1967 interview, he admitted feeling out of place at parties, a stark contrast to his confident public image. As a member of the Rat Pack alongside Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., Martin exuded effortless cool, but his journey from a bullied Italian-speaking child to a symbol of American sophistication was carefully curated. Behind the smooth exterior was a man who understood the power of reinvention, creating a persona that met the world's expectations while keeping much of his real self hidden. In 1946, Dean Martin's life changed forever when he met Jerry Lewis at a nightclub party. What began as an unplanned encounter turned into a legendary partnership. Dean's smooth singing and Jerry's zany humor created a dynamic duo that quickly captivated audiences. Their chemistry was undeniable, and they brought their act to the stage, wowing crowds with playful antics and sold-out shows. Their success soon expanded to the big screen. From 1949 to 1956, they made 16 films together. the pair also became a hit on television, starring in the Colgate Comedy Hour. Audiences adored their unique blend of music and comedy, and they rose to the top of the entertainment world. Behind the scenes, however, trouble was brewing. While their partnership seemed perfect, it was far from harmonious. Jerry often took the lead in public appearances and creative decisions, leaving Dean feeling overshadowed. What was supposed to be an equal collaboration became a source of frustration for Dean. This imbalance began to strain their relationship, even as their popularity soared. By the mid-1950s, cracks in their partnership became more visible. Fans remained unaware of the growing tension, but for Dean and Jerry, the divide was impossible to ignore. In July 1956, after a decade of working together, they gave their final performance. Their split was abrupt and bitter, ending not only their professional collaboration, but also their personal friendship. Over the years, their act had blended Dean's smooth vocals with Jerry's physical comedy, creating a unique mix of music and laughter. Their improvisational style and larger-than-life personalities drew massive crowds and cemented their place in entertainment history. Television appearances amplified their fame, making them one of the most beloved duos of their time. Despite their success, the partnership ultimately couldn't survive the tension behind the scenes. Despite their fame and success, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis faced constant struggles behind the scenes. Their disagreements often revolved around their styles and roles within the act. Jerry's love for improvisation clashed with Dean's preference for precision and structure. These creative differences created tension that ultimately led to their shocking breakup. Fans and colleagues alike were stunned when the duo parted ways. After their split, both pursued solo careers. Dean stepped out of Jerry's shadow, proving himself as a star in music, film, and television. He earned widespread respect as a talented and independent performer. Jerry, meanwhile, leaned into his slapstick comedy, taking on projects that showcased his abilities as both a comedian and director. Still, the legacy of their partnership loomed over their individual successes, sparking ongoing curiosity about their breakup. The end of their relationship became a public spectacle. Fans and insiders took sides, adding to the drama. Frank Sinatra, a mutual friend, attempted to reunite the two during a 1976 telethon. The moment was awkward and did little to mend their fractured bond. It wasn't until tragedy struck in 1987, with the death of Dean's eldest son, Dean Paul Martin Jr., that the two began to reconcile. Jerry attended the funeral, marking the start of a long-overdue reconnection. Looking back at their partnership reveals a tale of contrasts. On stage, they were a seamless duo with unmatched comedic timing. Their chemistry appeared effortless, creating a dynamic team that delighted audiences. Off-stage, however, their relationship told a different story. Rivalry and power struggles defined their interactions, leading to their eventual split. Dean's polished, suave persona and Jerry's quirky, chaotic energy made them a unique pair, both brilliant and deeply flawed. Their story remains one of both triumph and turbulence, a partnership remembered for its brilliance and its breakdown. After splitting from Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin turned his attention to a solo career in music. Before long, he found himself in Las Vegas, becoming a key member of the legendary Rat Pack. This iconic group included Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford. Together, they represented the height of glamour, fame, and excess. Their wild lifestyles, frequent female companions, and love of alcohol became the stuff of legend. From performing in Vegas to starring in hit films, the Rat Pack's camaraderie captivated the public. Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra shared an especially deep bond. Their friendship spanned over 40 years and included countless performances together and family holidays in Palm Springs in Los Angeles. However, tragedy in 1987 strained their relationship. After Dean's son tragically passed away, Dean withdrew from a planned tour with Sinatra. The decision upset Sinatra, but his later reflections revealed how much he valued their friendship. He described Dean as more than a friend, calling him a chosen brother, and saying he was as vital as air. Martin joined the Rat Pack in the late 1950s, but the group itself had earlier roots. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall initially formed the original circle of Hollywood elites. Bacall often voiced concern about their late-night drinking and disregard for conventions. Still, the Rat Pack became infamous for their carefree attitudes and hedonistic behavior. Despite his reputation as a party-loving entertainer, Dean Martin lived a quieter life than most realized. While his public persona exuded charm and revelry, his private self was far more reserved. Often, he was the first to leave gatherings, preferring a quiet night at home over the chaos of all-night parties. This contrast between his public image and private habits surprised those who knew him well. Only his closest friends understood the quiet, introspective side of the man behind the legend. The Rat Pack was the heartbeat of the Las Vegas entertainment scene. Known for their unscripted and lively shows, they blended humor, live music, and plenty of booze to create a party-like atmosphere. Crowds flocked to witness their electric performances, where the group's combined charisma shined brighter than their individual talents. Dean Martin's smooth voice complemented Frank Sinatra's commanding presence. Sammy Davis Jr. brought unmatched versatility with his singing, dancing, and impressions. Meanwhile, Joey Bishop added a sharp edge with his deadpan humor. Behind the scenes, their dynamic was more complicated. While their stage camaraderie seemed effortless, maintaining their public image and balancing personal relationships wasn't always easy. Even Martin and Sinatra, despite their deep friendship, occasionally clashed over creative ideas and the group's future direction. The Rat Pack's influence extended beyond entertainment. They were vocal supporters of the civil rights movement, often using their platform to challenge segregation. They performed in venues that had been previously closed to black artists, breaking down racial barriers and making a statement for equality. However, Dean Martin's off-stage behavior often contrasted with his public persona. Though many saw him as the life of the party, he was far more reserved in reality. Comedian Tom Dreesen, who frequently toured with Frank Sinatra, revealed that Martin rarely stayed at late-night gatherings. While Sinatra and the others would party until sunrise, Martin often slipped away early. This quiet habit stood in stark contrast to his reputation, showing a side of him that few outside his inner circle knew. Dean Martin's role in the Rat Pack painted him as a constant partygoer, always at the center of their wild adventures. In reality, this image was far from the truth. Privately, Martin preferred quiet nights at home to the chaotic nightlife his colleagues embraced. This contrast between his public persona and personal life was no accident. It was a deliberate effort to keep fans intrigued while shielding his private world. His reputation as a socialite was carefully crafted to sustain the Rat Pack's glamorous allure. Though tied to the group's notorious reputation for indulgence, Martin's participation was largely professional. He performed in their famous Las Vegas shows, delivering the charm and wit audiences expected. These performances were designed to highlight the Rat Pack's extravagant image. Yet, behind the scenes, Martin's true lifestyle was far more subdued. He often retreated from the spotlight, enjoying evenings at home with a drink in hand, far removed from the glitz and chaos. While members like Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. fully embraced the Rat Pack's hedonistic lifestyle, Martin maintained firm boundaries. He kept his personal life separate, refusing to let his public persona take over. This distinction was evident in the group's dynamics. Publicly, they appeared unified, but each member had their own preferences. While Joey Bishop and Peter Lawford joined Sinatra and Davis for late-night parties, Martin quietly excused himself, preserving his energy for work and family. This deliberate separation of his public and private worlds reflected Martin's ability to navigate celebrity life on his own terms. His understated lifestyle stood in stark contrast to the image of the carefree party animal he portrayed. It was a balance that not only protected his personal life, but also solidified his role as a cornerstone of the Rat Pack's legendary appeal. Dean Martin's ability to balance his public image with his private self was masterful. He maintained the charming, suave persona that audiences adored, all while keeping his true personality under wraps. This careful management of his fame reflected his professionalism and deep understanding of celebrity life. On screen, he exuded confidence and sophistication, cementing his place as a beloved figure. His polished performances gave fans the illusion of effortless glamour, a crucial element in his enduring success even after the Rat Pack's prime. Though known as a party-loving Rat Pack icon, Martin was, at heart, a family man. This contrast between his public and private lives shaped his legacy. He had 7 children, 4 with his first wife, Elizabeth MacDonald, and 3 with his second wife, Jean Martin. Despite his reputation for wild nights with Rat Pack members like Frank Sinatra, much of his time with Sinatra was spent alongside their families. Dean's daughter, Deanna Martin, recalled how close the two families were, with the children forming lasting friendships. In 1987, tragedy struck when Martin's son, Dean Paul Martin, died in a plane crash during a training flight as an Air National Guard captain. The loss devastated Martin, marking one of the most painful periods of his life. In his grief, he sought closure through unconventional means. According to reports from the Desert Sun, Martin turned to psychics for answers. He even flew a psychic by helicopter to the crash site, hoping for clarity. The psychic reportedly identified the exact location of the accident, though there were no survivors. This heartbreaking event left a lasting impact on Martin. It revealed a vulnerable side to the man who had always projected effortless charm and resilience. His ability to carry on, despite immense personal loss, highlighted the complexity behind the legend. This moment shed light on a lesser-known truth about Dean Martin. His drinking persona was largely an act. The iconic image of him holding a drink, seemingly tipsy, was carefully crafted for entertainment. In reality, the glass often contained nothing more than Martinelli apple juice. Patty Griot, a backup singer and dancer who worked with Martin and Jerry Lewis, confirmed that his drunken behavior was exaggerated for show. In a 1961 interview with the Saturday Evening Post, Martin admitted he drank far less than people thought, estimating it was about 1/10 of what his fans believed. He revealed that he had given up heavy drinking long before his son's tragic death. However, the immense grief he endured after losing his son led him to struggle with real alcoholism. This marked a sharp departure from the controlled image he had maintained for years. Martin's life reflects the highs and lows of a man who balanced extraordinary fame with deep personal challenges. His story reveals the complexities behind the public image of a celebrity. To the world, he was a cheerful entertainer. But behind closed doors, he dealt with immense pain and personal battles. Martin's dual life, projecting an effortless, jovial persona while privately coping with sorrow, speaks to the hidden struggles many celebrities face. His career was filled with music, laughter, and camaraderie, which he used to shield his vulnerabilities from the public. In 1964, Martin's hit song Everybody Loves Somebody dethroned the Beatles from the top spot on the American charts. The song's success led to NBC offering him his own variety show the following year. Martin struck a deal that gave him complete ownership of the show after its first episode. He insisted on working only on Sundays and opted out of performing with the backup dancers. When not required on set, Martin preferred to relax and watch football games. Dean Martin's easygoing nature extended to his work on The Dean Martin Show. He rarely attended rehearsals, preferring to watch stand-ins perform via a monitor in his dressing room. He only stepped in when absolutely necessary. Despite this relaxed approach, the show was a massive success. From 1965 to 1974, it drew an impressive 40 million viewers. Martin credited its success to his genuine presence. "It's really me up there, nothing fake," he said in an interview. Elvis Presley, another cultural icon, had a more complicated relationship with the crooners who came before him. Frank Sinatra, for instance, famously dismissed rock and roll, calling it phony and for cretins, as noted in several biographies. However, Sinatra's opinion shifted after performing with Elvis in 1960. That moment marked a new level of mutual respect between the two legends. Unlike Sinatra, Elvis admired Dean Martin from the start. He saw Martin as an idol and a major influence. Early in his career, Elvis even recorded a cover of Martin's song, "I Don't Care If the Sun Don't Shine" in 1954. Their connection deepened years later when Elvis performed Everybody Loves Somebody at a concert with Dean Martin in the audience. That performance was a significant moment for Elvis, showcasing the admiration he had for the legendary crooner. The link between the two icons highlighted Martin's broad appeal. His influence spanned genres, reaching even the rising stars of rock and roll. It was a testament to Martin's unique ability to connect with audiences and fellow artists alike, bridging gaps between different styles of music and eras of entertainment.